The hub's white light suddenly dimmed, like a massive power grid had been drained. A level 9 magnetic seal door ruptured outward. It sounded exactly like someone popping open a cheap bag of chips. Maya stood there comfortably amid the smoke and freezing vapor. She was holding a tiny cup. "Was that door supposed to be locked?" she asked. "I thought it was stuck." What happened next kept the entire galaxy awake for a month. You won't find this incident in any official record. Just 20 minutes earlier, the biggest threat to this station had been a misfiled requisition form. I was sitting at my transparent desk when I made the mistake. A massive one. I had followed standard protocol. So, here's the thing. The Celestial Research Hub was supposed to be the quietest orbital assignment in this sector. I am a blurg. My primary career objective is to finish a shift without dissolving into a puddle. Usually, my gelatinous body remains perfectly clear, but since this morning, tiny green stress bubbles had been forming near my core. The floor vibrated. Just a microscopic hum. The rock-chewing drovs in the lobby didn't feel it. The Phelan mathematicians didn't notice, but my liquid structure caught the exact frequency of an impending disaster. Maya was walking down the main corridor. She was just walking, nothing aggressive. Then she dropped her data pen. Oops. She bent down, retrieved it, and her body emitted. Well, humans call the procedure sneezing. You'd think the AI would ignore it, but no. The station's primary defensive sensors flashed a brilliant, retina-burning red. I looked at my console. I honestly thought it was a calibration error. That was my first mistake. I kid you not. The massive overhead screen jumped from threat level 0 directly to evacuate station, just from her walking and exhaling. The AI interpreted her basic biological functions as a catastrophic ecological attack. It triggered the most extreme containment measure we have. Lockdown. Heavy tungsten alloy doors slammed down from the ceiling. Maya was suddenly sealed inside a reinforced transparent quarantine box, designed to withstand plasma bombardment. I was staring at her from my observation desk, getting ready to hit There was a small scratch on the corner of my main monitor. I couldn't stop looking at it. Why hadn't maintenance fixed that scratch? My internal stress bubbles were boiling now. Rapid green fizzing that meant I was nearing structural collapse. Maya shifted her weight inside the box. She balanced her entire mass on just 2 legs. No stabilizing tail. No lower body tentacles. Watching that impossible physics made my jelly matrix spin sickeningly. I felt severe motion sickness. My species simply cannot process upright bipedalism. It makes us want to vomit our own nuclei. Red emergency strobes were flashing everywhere. Maya didn't look panicked. She unzipped her bag. She pulled out a small cardboard cylinder. She casually poured boiling water into it. I knew with absolute certainty that if this human breached containment, which she seemed perfectly capable of doing, considering she was currently ignoring the blaring alarms to prepare a cardboard cylinder of what our sensors flagged as a weaponized chemical, my entire vacation would be ruined. She looked entirely bored doing it, so she's sitting there in a level 9 containment cube, and the AI is screaming and she's just eating the poison like it's Tuesday. The chemical in that cardboard cup was capsaicin, a lethal biological defense mechanism, one that kills most carbon-based lifeforms on contact. She was slurping it. Then she got bored. I watched her approach the wall panel. She bypassed the biometric locks by simply pressing the buttons really hard. She adjusted the internal gravity plating to a fraction of standard. Then she started doing little mid-air flips. She was literally playing with the localized physics of a maximum security cell. The emergency strobes were flashing at maximum intensity. Maya pointed at them, laughed, and called it a fun disco. I do not know what a disco is. I can only assume it is an ancient human ritual where they mock their enemies before destroying them. I wanted to hide. I actually tried to duck under my glass desk. Then I remembered that glass is transparent. My jelly matrix was vibrating so hard I thought my core was going to rupture. My entire vacation was going to be cancelled. Then I stopped breathing entirely, because she had finished her noodles, stretched her arms, and walked over to the door. The hub's white light suddenly dimmed. She grabbed the magnetic seal. She didn't use a tool. She just pulled on the seam. The tungsten alloy door, rated to survive a localized meteor strike, screamed in metallic agony and ruptured outward. It popped open like a cheap snack bag. Was that door supposed to be locked? she asked, stepping into the freezing vapor. I thought it was stuck. The system AI tried to recalculate her threat level. It failed. The main screen just glitched, flashed a final string of errors, and shut completely down. I couldn't hold it in anymore. My internal pressure peaked, and I expelled a violent burst of neon green bubbles all over my keyboard. It is the blurg equivalent of vomiting your own soul. Right, so the invincible quarantine was open. A senior technician quietly walked over to the security terminal. I remember noticing that his left boot was untied. It's funny the things you focus on. He didn't speak. He just permanently deleted the security footage so nobody from command would ever try to recall the human. The medical scan finally loaded on my terminal. The data was a nightmare. Her body contained billions of symbiotic microbes, billions living inside her digestive tract. If she didn't power down and sleep for a few cycles, her brain would literally start hallucinating threats that weren't there. I sat there looking at the dietary analysis which confirmed she had voluntarily ingested plant defense mechanisms while I tried to understand how a species that weak to sleep deprivation could tear open a tungsten door with bare hands, which is not a sentence I ever thought my brain would have to formulate. They rewrote the hub protocols the very next morning. Earthlings are now officially exempt from all automated threat assessments. Perhaps the most terrifying thing about them is that they don't even know they are terrifying. I watched her walk toward the docking bay later that shift. She dropped her data pen again. The overhead lights flickered, dimming just for a second, and nobody in the corridor moved a single muscle until she picked it up.